this is a Canon lens. This is a Sony camera. Normally, these two are battling it out for control of the camera space, but in a Shakespearean twist that only we've seen with the likes of Romeo and Juliet, these two star-crossed lovers were brought together by the most unlikely catalysts. And that's a speed booster. It's the Viltrox Speed Booster. I guess let's get into it. So first off, I'm gonna start out by saying I started off my camera obsession as a Canon shooter, which I was a Canon shooter way back in the day. I'd probably say like 15, 20 years ago, whenever the T4i came out, because that was one of the first DSLRs that I've ever had. And because of that, I've acquired a couple different Canon lenses. I mean, I didn't acquire too many because I was always broke, and I guess that actually put me into debt. And I'm not proud of myself, but we're past that. We're past that. So anyways, because I was a Canon shooter, I've just kind of kept all of my gear over the years. And recently, as everybody knows, because I made multiple videos about it, I've switched to the whole the Sony ecosystem. And because of that, I possibly might not have been able to use any of my Canon stuff. That made me a little bit sad. But doing a little bit of research, as one does whenever they're just deciding to dump something completely, I found out that you're able to adapt the Canon lenses to the Sony bodies. And because of that, I got really excited, and I started going down a rabbit hole that I'm not very proud of. Because a lot of different outcomes could have came from this, but hey, the best possible outcome came from this. Doing my research, I found out that there are two different types of ways to adapt a Sony camera to a Canon lens. And those would either be an adapter or it would be a speed booster. An adapter, what that does is it basically just takes and it goes between your lens and your camera and gives it that little bit of space that you need to be able to properly focus with the glass and the distance from mount to mount. And what a speed booster does is essentially it does the same thing, but it has a little bit of an extra oomph to it. And that is, it has a little bit of glass in it, and it magnifies that same 1.71 or whatever it is, but it gives you one extra stop on the iris. And because of that, it's able to let a little bit more light in. So right now, what I'm using is the Canon 24-105L lens, which it's worth a lot, and I was really sad to kind of have to sell it because I've had this thing for like 15 years. So this is an f4 lens, and because of that, it's still going to give you like a good bokeh, which I was able to get whenever I would take photos with my Canon T4i. But it doesn't really give you a lot of light, especially for video kind of stuff. So adding a speed booster would give that one extra stop, which from f4, it would go to f2.8, I think. Is that 2.6 or 2.8? I don't want to look right now, so I'm not going to. There are a couple different brands that I was able to do. There was like an Uryu or Viltrox or Metabones. I was looking at the Metabones speed boosters, but those things are like $600, and I wasn't going to spend $600 on something that I didn't know was going to be possibly what I needed. So I decided to go with Viltrox. And this is the Viltrox, I think it's the version 2 for the Sony E to EF mount. This gives me the ability to be able to use the stabilization on the lens, and also it gives me the opportunity to use the autofocus. And I will say a couple things about the autofocus. I'm super happy that it works. I'm super happy that it works. It is a little slow, and I will admit it was $188, but I can see why the Metabone stuff might be a little bit more expensive, because from what I understand is this last firmware update for this Viltrox came out maybe, I think it was earlier this year, but I'm not entirely sure. But the Metabone still has a lot of development under it. It's a more known brand. I mean, you pay what you get for it, or you get what you pay for. I don't know how to speak, so I guess that happened. But basically, because this does what it does, I'm able to do what every single YouTuber has ever done. I'm able to just get real close, and you know what I'm gonna do? Hey, just letting you know, I brought it in. So now we can have a serious conversation about how it works. I mean, you can see in the background, it's definitely blurred out, and you see my face is actually very, very well in focus. And right now I have the autofocus on. So if I go like this, get it out of focus, give me a couple seconds, it's gonna bring myself back into focus if I do something like this. The bad thing about this is it takes a little bit of time for it to kind of communicate, because what it's doing is it's basically a translator from Canon mechanics to Sony mechanics. So basically, the Canon camera or the Sony camera is talking to the Canon lens, but they don't understand it. So they're looking to the left and they're looking to their best friend. So it's like, well, yeah, what did he say? And it's like, hey, autofocus, just do it, okay? And that's what happens. So what I can do is I can also take it back out and go back to a wider shot. And because this is a 24, and because I'm 4K 24 on and using Super 35, I'm actually getting that correct 24 to 105, and it actually makes me a little happy. So I guess kind of what I'm saying is this is surprisingly good for what it does, for how much it costs, and I think it's definitely more on the budget side, especially if you want that extra stop of light. And while it does have a good autofocus and it does do the thing, it still takes a while, and it's also really loud on the lens. So you can see right here, yeah. But anyways, this would be a really good, I guess, starter speed booster. This would be good as something that, if a budget speed booster, because here's the thing, it's working, it's doing great. I'm using the lens right now, and because of that, I'm able to get better shots of more macro kind of stuff, because this goes to this actually focuses to macro level, so I'm able to get tighter shots on different things, like for any of my product stuff. And because of that, it's just another tool in the arsenal that I am building called my camera rig. I guess that's really all there is to it. That's really all that I'm gonna say about it, because I mean, there's not that much. It does what it does, and it works well. Well, at least well enough to actually do it. And I'll put it in the description in case somebody decides, hey, I want to try this and I want to use this. But other than that, yeah, it works. It works well, and I feel like it's going to help me become a better filmmaker and become a better person, dare I say. But anyways, if you like the video, go ahead and do the whole like, comment, subscribe thing. I plan on doing more videos like this. I guess more gear reviews for anything I buy. I'm making a video for it. So I guess I have a problem with spending and buying things. So yeah, you're gonna see a lot of videos involving gear that I buy for my camera, my computer, or whatever. But anyways, I love you guys. I hope you have a great night and enjoy whatever you're doing later on in life. I don't know. This got awkward, so on that, yeah. Okay, bye.